Hello, my name is Daniel Perez, and I am one of the board members with Alhambra American Little League, and today we're going to continue talking about scorekeeping, keeping a scorebook for our Little League games. So in our last video, we talked about setting up the lineup X section here and the game information at the top. In this video, we're going to talk about a lot of the notation that's used and translating all of these notes and scribbles. In the next video, we'll talk about the pitch count, and in the final video, we'll talk about putting it all together. So first I want to show you guys this mnemonic that I came up with over here on the right. There's a lot of information that can go into keeping score, but as long as you're keeping track of the pitches, the runs, the outs, the balls, and the strikes, then you're probably doing it right. Your prob's doing it right. So don't get overwhelmed when you see a lot of information, there's a lot happening. You want to keep this stuff up here in mind. I also wanted to show this again from the last video, the numeric abbreviations for the positions, because we'll be using those as well. And then also here are some of the more common abbreviations that we're going to be going over in this video. All this information here on the right is available on our website, alhambraamerican.org. Under the Documents tab, there's a PDF called Scorekeeping Cheat Sheet, which is available for anyone to download. So if we take a closer look over here at our scorecard, I filled in some random notes and some random possibilities for different players and plays and outs and situations. This isn't in chronological order because we're just learning the abbreviations and the notation, so keep that in mind as we go through this. So if we look over here, we're going to start with balls and strikes, how to record balls and strikes. Most scorebooks have 5 boxes in each offensive player at bat box. So these 5 boxes are used for recording the balls and strikes. The 3 boxes are for balls and the 2 boxes are for strikes. So if I were to look at this box, I can see that Monica had 2 balls and 2 strikes before this 5th pitch right here, which was strike 3, a strikeout. And this is very important to keep in mind throughout scorekeeping in general, is can anyone come and look at my book and find out the information that they need to know? I mentioned this in the last video. It's very important to make sure you realize that you're not going to be the only one who uses this information. We go back through it and we look for things like pitch counts and a lot of other important information. So keep that in mind. So again, this was 2 balls, 2 strikes, and then the 5th pitch, which was a strikeout. This batter, Thomas, we see a stray hash mark down here, and what does that mean? Well, we can see that because all the boxes are filled in, all 3 boxes for the balls and all 2 boxes down here for the strikes, this is actually a foul ball. So some point when Thomas had 2 strikes, he hit a foul ball, and because he didn't strike out from that foul ball, we had to note that somewhere for pitch count. So we just note it to the side. And then this one showed that he walked on that pitch. But we'll get to that later. Just remember that these boxes are what we use to note balls and strikes. And tick marks or hash marks are fine for that. So next we're going to talk about getting on base. And we can get on base in several ways. We can walk, we can get hit by a pitch, we can hit a single, a double, a triple, or a home run. There are a lot of possibilities. So I've put some of these here. So like we just talked about, this batter, he had full count and then hit a foul ball and then walked. So a walk looks like this. Anytime an offensive batter successfully reaches a base, we show that by outlining or lining with our pencil the base to which that batter successfully achieved. So this person got to second, so we drew a heavy line all the way to second, and the 2B, if we look down here at our abbreviations, means that person got a double. So a triple would look like that, and a home run would look like this. So this is very important. Why does the home run get filled in? Actually, it's not just home runs that get filled in. Any runner that scores gets their diamond filled in darkly. And we do this so that anyone can easily look to count up how many runs have been scored in each inning or throughout the whole game. So anytime anyone scores, make sure to fill in the diamond darkly, like that. So if this person were actually to have gotten a hit, we could write HBP as is noted down here. I like to just do HP, not to be confused with Harry Potter, but that's another way to note abbreviations. In some books, there will actually be the on base notations written there, and you can just circle what happened. So if this batter got a single, you can just circle 1B and then draw the line to first base like that. And you can see the boxes for balls and strikes are down there for that brand of book. So there are different ways to do it, but that's how we're going to do it in our books. Other ways, the next thing we want to talk about is advancing around the bases. So let's say, for example, that this person got to first base on a single. So let's just write that in. So this person got to first on a single, so that line is drawn in, and then stole second base. That's what this SB stands for. If we look down here at our abbreviations, stolen base. So got to first base on a single, stole second, SB. If that person were to steal third, we would draw the line to third, write SB again over here. Steal home, draw the line to home, write SB, and then fill in the box. Pretty straightforward with stolen bases. Another way to advance around the bases is to be advanced by another batter who comes up for your team. So let's say, for example, that we're up here, Thomas is batting, he got to first on a single, and then Sam comes up to bat next and then also hits a single, which advances Thomas to second. So what would we do in that situation is actually write, for this we would fill in the line because Thomas got to second, and then right here we would actually write B3, which stands for batter 3, because Sam is the one who got Thomas there. That's the reason, that's what we're writing, and Sam is the number 3 batter in our lineup. So B3 to show that batter 3 is how he got to second. If he had gotten all the way to third, then we would fill in the line to third and write B3 over here. We wouldn't have to write anything over here because we would know, it would be assumed that B3 is the reason that we got to second and third. So that's how that's noted when you're advanced by another batter, excuse me. Now let's talk about ways to get out. So whenever someone gets out via strikeout, a ground out, a pop fly, a line drive, a double play, what have you, we're going to go ahead and note that person is out with a circle, O for out, and then write the number out in that box. So Monica was the first batter of the inning, for example. She struck out. Our abbreviation for strikeout is K, or at least strikeout swinging is K, as opposed to looking, which would be a backwards K. And then we would go ahead and write out. So let's say this batter was the third out of the inning, we would write a 3 instead. So that's how you would note strikeout, with a K, or a backwards K if it was a strikeout looking. Noting a fly ball is, if we look over here, an F. So this would be a fly ball to position number 9. And if we go back to our position abbreviations, right field is number 9. So I could look at this and see, all right, Mateo, he flew out to right field and was the third out of the inning. That was the end of the inning. Fly out to the catcher, fly out to shortstop. Oh, I'm sorry, this is an L. So an L, if we look at our common abbreviations, is actually a line drive. So a line drive to the shortstop, a line drive, hit it right back to the pitcher, and then the circle with the outs. Other ways to get out are grounders, ground outs. So a ground out is pretty simple. All we want to do is make sure to note the players that handled the ball. So if we're looking at this, we can see, all right, there was an out because I see a circle with a number in it. Who handled the ball to get the out? Well, 4 threw it to 3. We always do it in the order that the players handled the ball, the defensive players handled the ball. So 4 is our second baseman, 3 is our first baseman, so it was a grounder from the second baseman who threw it to the first baseman. Over here, I see there is a line to first base, which means the batter successfully got to first base, and I see why. It was a single, but then I see 5 to 4, which means position 5 threw it to position 4 and got an out. Here's the O with the number 1. So if I look over here, position 5, the third baseman, threw to position 4, the second baseman. So I can deduce from this information here, this batter got a single, but then was somehow forced out because the third baseman threw it to the second baseman, and that batter, or that runner, was the first out of the inning. The last thing I want to talk about is a double play. That happens sometimes. Those are fun. Double plays are denoted with, if we look back at our common abbreviations, DP. DP for double play. And again, we're just going to note the defensive players who handled the ball. DP 5-4-3. So as you can see, Eric had gotten to first base on a single, but then Bill came up and grounded out into a double play. So Eric would have been the first out of the inning, so that would be a 1, and we would write that that's how he got out. And then Bill would have been the second out because the second baseman would have thrown it to first to get him out too. So that's how we note all of that information. Oh, I forgot one more. Up here is caught stealing. That one is not used as often, but I just wanted to throw it in there in case you wanted to know. So if I look at this box here, I can deduce this batter got to first on HP, which is hit by pitch, tried to steal second, but didn't make it. That's why there's no line going to second, but was instead caught stealing. The catcher, position 2, threw it to the shortstop, position 6, and that was the first out of the inning. So again, we have a lot of information that we can put in our abbreviations. I do want to mention, if there's ever some abbreviation you don't know or you're not sure how to write it, always just make a note to the side. Put a little star, draw an arrow, and just write it out on the side. Always better to do that than not write something and us not know what happened. So that's all our abbreviations for this. We'll talk about more. Again, these are very helpful to have in your memory. They're on our website. Next video, we'll talk about the pitch count.